Let me start with a question that may hit a little too close to home. How many things in your business are taking you way longer than they should because you're determined to figure it out by yourself? I'll wait. Because if you feel that little tightening in your chest and wondering, okay, why are you in my business and looking at my calendar, then you're exactly who I'm talking to. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the podcast. And as you can see by the title, we're talking about the hidden cost of doing everything yourself and why asking for help is a strength. And let's go ahead and address the number one excuse before it even finishes forming in your mouth. Jamila, I can't afford the help. But what if I told you you're already paying for it? You're paying in time, you're paying in stress, you're paying in momentum, you're paying in delayed income, you're paying it in your energy, your creativity, your sleep, your peace. So the question isn't, can you afford help? The question is, how long can you afford to keep doing this? Because I need you to hear me clearly right at the top of this episode. I'm going to say it more than once. You don't have to earn the right to ask for help. Not after you proved yourself, not after you burned out, not after you hit some imaginary revenue milestone, not after you've suffered enough for for yourself to feel worthy of support. You don't have to earn the right to ask for help. So let's talk about the hidden costs because they're sneaky and they're all over the place and they be like hiding out. They don't always show up in your bank statement, but they absolutely show up in your results. If you've been wearing the I can do it all badge like a trophy, girl, stop. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to free you. So let's talk about the cost. The first cost, your time. Time is not just hours. Time is your life. Time is your focus. Time is your attention. Time is your best brain power. When you spend 3 hours trying to troubleshoot your email automations or 7 hours watching tutorials on a tool you don't even like, you just lost time. You lost time when you could have been spent on actually doing things that move your company forward, like selling, serving, building relationships, being visible, and honing in on your craft. Second cost is lost opportunities because while you were stuck trying to perfect a logo, rewrite a sales page for the 10th time, or figure out ads with sheer willpower, opportunities were passing you by. Collabs you didn't follow up on, clients you didn't pitch, leads you didn't nurture, rooms you didn't enter because you were too busy being the entire operations department. Third, delayed launches. Let me tell you something. Delayed launches are not neutral. They just don't mean later. They often mean never. Because you drug it out so long, the more you second guess, the more you tinker, the more you overthink, the more you lose the original fire that made you start in the first place. And then you tell yourself the same old story. Maybe it's not the right time. No, sometimes it's not timing. Sometimes it's lack of support. The fourth cost, burnout. Yes, that B word. And burnout isn't just being tired. Burnout is when everything starts feeling heavy, when the business you prayed for starts feeling like the burden you can't put down. You get snappy, you get numb, you procrastinate, and you dread the tasks that once excite you. And then you start thinking that you're not cut out for this. Sis, let me tell you, you might be cut out for this. You might be just carrying way too much by yourself. The fifth cost, frustration, that constant low grade irritation, that why is this so hard feeling? The spiral of what's wrong with me is not always a mindset problem. Sometimes it's a systems problem. Sometimes it's a capacity problem. Sometimes it's a support problem. And again, you don't have to earn the right to ask for help. The sixth cost, poor quality work. I said it. I said what I said. Not because you're not talented, because I know you are, and not because you're not smart, because you are, but because you're doing the work under pressure, under fatigue, under time constraints, and sometimes in areas that are in your zone of genius or expertise. Been there, done that. So what happens? You rush, you settle, you patch it together, and you release something that doesn't match your standard. Or you do the exact opposite. You keep it trapped in a perfectionism box because you're trying to compensate for not having the right support. Either way, it costs you. It costs you confidence, it costs you credibility, and it costs you conversions. And the seventh and final cost is mental bandwidth. This one is massive because people can't name it or they don't know how to name it. So when you're doing everything yourself, your mind is never off. You're making 1,000 micro decisions. You're juggling details. You're trying to remember what you promised to who and what needs to happen when and what you forgot and what might break. And then you still haven't learned everything yet. And then you wonder why it's so hard to be creative and you can't think clearly or why you're exhausted and technically you didn't do much today. Your brain is running on 47 tabs at once. Let's knock it off. So let me ask you this. If you had support, I mean real support, would become possible for your business in a month? What would speed up? What would feel lighter? What would you do? Because you don't have to earn the right to ask for help. Some of you here get help and your nervous system immediately translated as I'm failing, I'm not capable, I should be able to do this. If I were really a boss, I wouldn't need anyone. So let's lovingly challenge that, shall we? Needing support does not mean you're weak. It means you're human. Trust me. And you're scaling and you're choosing sustainability over struggle. Because I'm trying to get off the struggle bus too. Hello. So here's a reframe I want you to keep close. Support is not a sign you're breaking down. Support is a sign that you're building up. And let me say it again, because somebody needs permission more than they need another strategy. You don't have to earn the right to ask for help. You can ask why you're learning. You can ask while you're growing. You can ask why you're still figuring it out. Now, this is important. Asking for help does not mean that you give up control. Okay. It doesn't mean that. And it does not mean you disappear because this is your company. It does not mean that you hand over your whole business and say, hope for the best, because that's not it either. Support can look like having someone set up the thing you already decided what you want, getting a second set of eyes so you can stop overthinking, bringing in a contractor for a specific project, using tools that automate the repetitive task. And I talked about that last week. Joining a community so you're not making decisions in a vacuum. Working with a mentor so your next step is clear and aligned. Remember, you're still the CEO. You're still the visionary. You're still the decision maker. But you have to have an extra set of hands. It's not just you anymore. And you definitely don't have to be the only brain holding everything together. So I'm gonna get a little punchy with this because this is my show and I can do what I want. If your business requires you to do everything yourself to survive, you don't have a business. You have a stressful job that you can't clock out of. And I want more for you than that. So if you're thinking, but nobody can do it like me, okay, maybe that's true in some areas. Your voice, your expertise, your perspective, yes, that's you. But it's also possible that nobody can do it like me is sometimes a shield that keeps you safe from discomfort, from training, delegating, and getting the support that you need. Just a question, no judgment. Because support isn't about replacing you, it's about protecting your energy, protecting your creativity, protecting your ability to lead. And again, just so you don't forget the point of this whole episode, you don't have to earn the right to ask for help. Remember that. All right, let's get practical because I don't want this to be a wow, this is an inspiring episode that changes nothing by Thursday because we don't want that. This is a challenge you can do in 10 minutes and can save you hours and maybe months on the other side of it. So grab your notes out because I know you got that. A sticky note, a journal, whatever you got. I don't care if you got to put it on a napkin, just as long as you keep up with it. So answer these four questions honestly. No performing, no pretending, just truth. Question number one, what am I trying to do? Be specific, not grow my business. More like build my website, create a lead magnet, set up an invoice system, plan content, launch an offer, learn ads, organize my client onboarding. The next question, why am I doing it myself? Is it money? Is it trust? Is it pride? Is it a habit? Is it control? Is it fear of being judged? Is it not knowing where to find help? Is it not wanting to be a burden? Name the real reason, because that's where the breakthrough is. Number three, who or what could help me? This could be a person, a contractor, a VA, a bookkeeper, a designer, a tech setup specialist, a coach, a mentor, a friend who's done it before. Or it could be a what? A template, an automation, a tool, a class, a system, a community, a checklist, a consultation call. Support isn't always hiring a full team. Sometimes it's one smart resource at a time. And number four, what's one step I can take this week to get support? Not just one step, not 10, not a whole reinvention, one step. Maybe it's pricing out services. Maybe it's asking for referrals. Maybe it's booking a 1 hour consult. Maybe it's posting in a community. Maybe it's buying the template. Maybe it's documenting the process so you can hand it off next month. And as you answer these questions, I want you to repeat this to yourself out loud if you can. You do not have to earn the right to ask for help. And I want you to remember that. Write it down along with the questions. So I leave you with this. You're allowed to build a business that doesn't require you to be exhausted to be successful. I'll repeat that. You are allowed to build a business that doesn't require you to be exhausted to be successful. You are allowed to grow without grinding your nervous system into dust. You are allowed to be supported without feeling guilty about it. And if that part of you, that little thing in your head, that little voice in your head is still whispering, but I should be able to handle this, I'm going to lovingly interrupt that thought with the truth we've been anchoring this whole episode. You don't have to earn the right to ask for help. So here's your invitation, your next step. Choose one kind of support and move toward it this week, not someday, not when it gets worse, this week. So this is where what your support might look like. Delegation. Hand off that one task that drains you. Advice. Ask someone who's already done it, and they can point you in the right direction. Tools. Investing in automation or templates and stop reinventing the wheel. Mentorship. Getting guidance so you can stop second guessing every step. Community. Surrounding yourself with the people who get it, and you're not rebuilding in isolation. And finally, consultation. Focus on a session to solve one problem and create a clear plan. And if you can only do one thing today, do this. Pick up one area where you've been stuck the longest and tell the truth about what it's costing you. Then choose a support like you choose a strategy, on purpose, with intention, and with the future in mind. Because you're not behind, you're not broken, and you're not failing. You're just ready to build differently. So let me just tell you this. I'm proud of you for being here and for listening and viewing, wherever you see me or hear me. And you're willing to make the shift, and you're willing to put in the work, and you're allowing others to step in. So if this episode hit home, share it with a friend who's carrying too much alone, and come back next week and we have some more real talk, real strategy and real support from the Jamila Adams experience. So until next time, be inspired, be inspiring, be encouraged, be encouraging. But most of all, I want you to be you. And remember, you don't have to earn the right to ask for help. And I'll check you out next week. Take care.